Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the room, please take your seats. Please take your seats. If you are in the room, you must be in a seat. If you do not have a seat, you can step out into the hallway. I would just like to inform you and anyone watching on the stream that we are having technical difficulties with our video, and so you will not see the members or anyone speaking here, but you should be able to hear very clearly what's going on. And with that, I will hand it over to the chair.
All right. As you can see, the chair has changed today, so the chair is not here and will not be here today. So maybe that's the reason for not having the video available. That she's not here and I am. So
you're broken.
Yeah, already. So
it's visual entertainment.
That's right. Yes, sir. All right. We have a number of bills that are up today. We're going to call the roll first. So.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just so you know, the voting functions on the machine says it's not, oh, now it's working.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Do we have a sign-up sheet for people who are presenting? All right. Senator Peake.
I don't know. Sorry. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 171 is a hot algae bloom problem at Lake Anna. And this committee has addressed that in the past budget with some money for a study. And now this budget, this bill does have a financial impact, and it came back with the money amount about $225 a year for 4 years, which collaboration between the Virginia Department of Health and DEQ to come up with a algae bloom mitigation plan at Lake Anna. About 2017, they really started developing this problem, and the General Assembly has studied it over the past couple of years, and now we need to develop a plan to mitigate this issue. And I know it's a significant amount of money, but when you look at the amount of money that Lake Anna brings in through tourism and travel and fishing and all of those leisure activities, I would hope that the committee will recognize the need for this and pass this bill on. And when we met with the DEQ and VDH together last week, they indicated that Virginia Tech most likely had a program that could really study this and develop this. If not Virginia Tech, one of the other universities, and I can't, some GCSC or some other initialed organization referenced by DEQ might could do it for this amount. So it's a significant problem. It's developing on our freshwater statewide, but we want to focus on Lake Anna right now. And as you see in the finance impact statement, they've done some work on Shenandoah River, but it's starting to come up on all of our freshwater areas, and this would be a good opportunity to get ahead of the problem.
Senator Peake, actually, when the chair and I met going over the bills that we're going to be taking up today, one of the things we thought we might do in this situation is rather than put this in, pass a bill to do this, is to just to handle it in the budget. And so that's sort of what we're looking at doing. And that way we can deal with the Shenandoah River thing and some of the other issues, because this is not an isolated problem at Lake Anna, but it is a significant one that's there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Mr. Chairman, and just so we get it in the budget somehow and start working on the problem. So I understand.
Okay, so that's the way we want to try to take care of it. And so in that situation, then actually what we could do is carry the bill over, and that way we would.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Do I need to put something in the budget?
We got that.
You've got it covered.
Yeah,
you and the
we'll
chairman.
get it covered, so don't worry about it.
Thank you. Right.
Move the bill be carried over for the year.
All right. All right. There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over for the year. Is there any further discussion? All right. All in favor, vote on the board. So.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for recognizing the problem in the committee.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right.
They've already got
Next,
$2.5 million.
Senator DeStep.
So if you're adding another.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, got Senate Bill 609, the grocery tax exemption bill. I'm going to ask for that to be taken by for the day while a member of the committee and I work this a little bit more on this to finish this up.
Actually, we had already reached that same conclusion that we needed to move those, the ones that had been originally on the list of bills for today that had to deal with taxes, because we had some that were there and some that were not there, and we need to try to look at that as a whole issue. And so we will deal with it probably next week then, so we'll
Perfect.
let you know.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you very much. Have a great
Certainly,
day.
thank you.
Which bill was that?
Senator McPike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 238. This is a recommendation of the School Modernization and Construction Commission that would set in place a tool that General Services currently uses. In fact, I do have an amendment that was received from General Services and Board of Education, just to clarify the language on line 20. I believe, I'm not sure if the clerk, and we sent it into a little bit late this morning because we got it late last night, but
Okay.
I'm happy to read it on line 20, which is to line 20, after shall consider, strike converting or, and then after using, striking as a template, and then on line 21, after general services, striking the MR fix and inserting real estate and assessment management system for tracking and infrastructure maintenance status. It's just clarifying language on the general services.
I move the amendments.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that gets in the bill in a form which both General Services and Board of Education are in agreement with. And it's a tool that helps to support the data asset of our overall school systems. It's important, as we know, we have a very large backlog of capital needs. One of the concerns the Modernization Commission looked at was, if we start to invest over time, do we create a temporary Band-Aid fix without understanding, having insight to the long-term cost? This is a data tool that helps to utilize and aggregate the total capital deferred requirements over time. And that's one of the important things we do, is have visibility into the investment, so we don't get into the same situation in the future, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Senator Morrison.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator McPike, would this tool, if you will, also enable a school division to determine, or in the state to determine when a building needs to be replaced as opposed to renovated and repaired?
Mr. Chairman, I'd answer, it's a little bit more technical on that, because there's other determining factors in terms of program, whether you replace or not. What it does tell you is the asset lifespan in terms of when significant replacement values are due. And so whether it's a roof that's up in 20 years or 25 years, whether it's HVAC systems, you do in 15, it gives the built-in asset replacement value in different components.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions or comments? All right, can we have a motion?
Move to report.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. Everyone can vote on the board, so.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion passes. Senator Kiggins.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I have Senate Bill 211, which is a list maintenance election accuracy bill, we like to call it. And this is the same bill that passed out of the Senate last year on a vote of 34-5. It was previously heard in P&E, and it's just a bill that increases the frequency from the Department of Vital Records to the Department of Elections. Currently, they should report the list of people who has died monthly. This rarely happens. It's usually every 2 to 3 months. So in order to just improve their workload, make it more efficient and more accurate, this bill requires the Office of Vital Statistics and Vital Records to send the list of people who have died to the Department of Elections on a weekly basis instead.
All right. Any questions from members of the committee? All right, is there anyone who wants to testify in favor of this bill? Anyone in opposition?
If there's anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak, please raise your hand electronically.
Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
They had previously spoken in
Okay, all right, that's right. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, we've got a motion to report. Is there a second? Second. All right. We will vote.
Vote for Vogel.
Oh.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Committee.
All right. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Is that a Senate too? All right. Okay. Yeah. Would it make, if someone would make a motion to pass by for the day Senate Bill 701, which is always Senator Higgins. All right, we have a motion and a second to pass 701 by for the day. We will vote on that, so. Okay, voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. All right. Now we have no non-members here now, so are there members? You ready to go? So, okay, Senator Norman.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee, if I could respectfully direct your attention to Senate Bill 438, which I believe is on page 10 of your calendar. And I believe we have an amendment that merely changes the nomenclature of one of the entities. There is no such entity as the Jamestown Discovery. And you want to report the amendment?
Sure thing, Senator Norman. The amendment would be on line 80 to replace the name Historic Jamestown with the correct name, which is the Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation.
And that would be the correct name of it, and I would move that amendment.
All right, there's a motion and a second to add that, to do that amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right, that amendment's adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This truly is a local bill that focuses on the historic triangle, and I am so proud of it. All of my political adversaries, most of whom are Republicans, refer to it as the Tommy tax. You may recall several years ago, the historic triangle consisting of the city of Williamsburg, James City County, and York County decided they needed to engage in self-help on the promotion of tourism as a destination and products, and we increased the local sales tax in those three jurisdictions by 1%, and the money was used to promote tourism. We fully appreciated the impact of that during the COVID situation, where we had some local challenges. What this bill does is the three localities have come together, and all three of them have agreed that we are going to create the historic triangle. It's going to be basically creating an athletic venue in our community. The three localities have come on it, and this bill deals with the distribution of some of the revenues that came from the 1% increase in the sales tax to promote the Historic Triangle Recreation Facilities Authority, which will have a governing board made up of all three localities. We had certain distributions of revenues that went to each of the three localities. The taxes generated from the initial Tommy tax went to the three localities, and then also to promote tourism. What the bill does is it quantifies an allocation of funds that will now be used to create the recreational facility authorities. I have some representatives here from Williamsburg, from the Chamber of Commerce, the Tourism Authority, and the Assistant City Manager of the City of Williamsburg. There is no opposition amongst the elected officials on this, and they have all gone on record of voting as supporting it. And I would ask for
Mr.
your
Chair.
consideration.
Yes.
And I apologize for sort of up in my part of the world, historic triangles, Fairfax City, Town of Vienna, and Tyson's Corner. So I guess my question is, Senator.
All that used to be part of James City County starting in
And
16.
that's an excellent point. All right. Very historic. Here's my question, and that is, I well recollect, I think this was initially put in place before the 400th anniversary in 2007. It's always been money dedicated to tourism and tourism promotion, and this is the first time we're kind of going off on a sidetrack, with a athletic facility. Would you agree with me?
I would not.
Okay.
I would not agree with you. And I say that not argumentatively. A number of localities, Virginia Beach, maybe the city of Richmond, have gotten involved in what I would euphemistically refer to as athletic tourism, and that is to attract various groups that would come into that community to augment the tourism. Because I happen to be in the hospitality business, one thing that comes to mind immediately several years ago, we had the ladies softball tournament that came there. We do not have the currently existing facilities to expand it, and this would be about
Can I do a follow-up question?
Sure. Senator Peterson.
And I understand, and in Virginia Beach, I think they're trying to attract an NBA team at some point, and I'm very familiar with trying to bring a football team to Virginia.
We're not trying to do that.
No, you're not trying to attract a professional team. Would this be
No.
for amateur athletics?
There would be amateur athletics, things, swim meets, softball tournaments, soccer
Okay.
tournaments.
Rugby?
I
Okay.
don't
all
know.
right.
I look around, there's a couple of them in here who played rugby with too many scrums, I can tell you that.
Yes. We're going to do testimony on this. So.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Evan.
Just to be clear, this is requested by the localities. They've all agreed to this, or no?
All three of them have agreed to it. You will note they have reviewed, you would not note, they have reviewed the legislation, they have concurred with it.
Great.
And the distribution of revenues.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor of this bill?
They're here in favor,
Zoom and would
but
like to
that's,
speak in favor, please raise your hand electronically.
you all are not electronic, so raise your hand.
Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
All right. And is there anyone in opposition to the bill? So,
If you are on the Zoom and would like to speak in opposition, please raise your hand now. We have no speakers.
all right. A motion has been made to report. Is there a second? Second. All right. We will vote now.
Dick, would you vote me, please? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen.
Quite welcome.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right. Okay. All right. Senator Hashmi.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I believe we've got three in front of the committee this morning. The first one is SB 161. It's a bill to provide training programs for our educators who work with children in schools regarding heat-related illnesses, and I believe that there is no fiscal impact involved in this particular bill.
All right. Are there any questions by members of the committee? All right. Is there anyone here speaking? Well, has this one been heard in subcommittee? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. There's another committee up here. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, then, yes. Oh, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I understand that a lot of policies have already been put in place, especially around football in those, August scrimmages and early September games where the combination of heat and humidity, they'll stop the game. So is this going beyond that to deal with heat-related issues?
This is actually asking that the Department of Education will develop guidelines on policies to inform and educate coaches and student athletes and their parents about the nature and the risk of heat-related illness. So it is creating a set of guidelines.
Okay.
But it actually is just going to be distributed to the school divisions just so that they're fully informed. And it has the support of the Medical Society of Virginia and a variety of other
Yeah,
organizations.
Mr. Chairman, so I assume what's happening then is localities are coming up with different
No.
kinds of approaches to this, and they're trying to
Mr. Chair.
coordinate it?
Just a minute. Senator Martin first, and then we'll go to Senator Peterson.
And, is that the situation?
It is to create uniform information that can be shared across all the school divisions, yes.
All right, Senator Peterson.
Yes, VHSL has guidelines. And if your child plays sports, and my son plays football, for example, in over 90-degree days, they'll go to quarters and they'll have water breaks during an actual game. So the VHSL has guidelines. By all means, we ought to have the Department of Health take a look at those guidelines, but there are guidelines in place with VHSL for our high school athletics.
All right, Senator Evan.
Just to be clear, my understanding is that the Department of Education would work with stakeholders, and the VHSL would be the largest stakeholder. So this is just seeing that the parents get the information. Could be similar to what VHSL is using, but it had to be reviewed first. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. It's simply to create standard guidelines to inform and educate.
Yeah, so this goes a step beyond, sir, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So it goes a step beyond just to make sure that the parents are informed and that the information going home is agreed to by the stakeholders.
That's right.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions from the committee? All right. We got a motion to report. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second to report. We will vote on it now.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right. And, all right, that passes. You have,
Thank you,
I
Mr.
think,
Chair.
one bill that was in Senator Hanger's subcommittee. He will report on that. And
Okay.
you have one other one.
Yes, the second is SB 257, which is the Interstate Counseling Compact. And this is a counseling compact that allows qualified professional counselors to practice in all the states that are part of the Interstate Compact. This only goes into effect once we have reached the number of 10 participating states. At present, we have 2 states, Georgia and Maryland, that have joined the compact, and North Carolina is pending, and Virginia wants to be a part of the Interstate Counseling Compact so that it can play a role in developing the structures for the compact. And it's my understanding that there is no fiscal impact to the Commonwealth.
And Mr. Chair, I think this was a bill that was in P&E that was required to be referred here. I'm not sure, or was asked for. I'm not.
It was in P&E? Okay. All right. Well, actually, Senator Howell and I have been working on things. Thought it might be good to have a study done this year, since there are only 2 states that are operating with that, who have approved that for now. And we have a substitute to be considered there. So is that available? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Senator Barker has described the content of the substitute. It's released on LIS, and it's basically exactly as he described it, to direct the Department of Health Professions to review the merits of entering into the compact. So the costs associated with that, and then many of the objectives that are listed in the actual compact itself that were in Senator Hashmi's introduced bill.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to adopt the substitute? All right, is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any objection to the substitute and the study, because I don't think we're going to get enough states in the next year to sign up for this compact. But the reality is, we have a workforce shortage across the board, and it's only through interstate cooperation are we ever going to get the sort of service we need to provide to the Virginians in need.
Mr. Chair, I would,
Yes.
I would agree with Senator Deeds. I think that this is an urgent concern. It will take a while to get the other states involved in the compact, and I would recommend that we move forward with the initial bill if that's possible.
All right. Well, I think part of the rationale for the substitute is that there are only 2 states now, and, there are some issues that are developing in some of the compacts that we need to address, and I think it would be good to look at it now. So if there's no other discussion, any other questions or anything?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I agree with the merits of the proposal, but I think you're right that it will not hold us up to
Right.
study this out. So I move that we report the substitute.
All right. Is there a second? Second. All right. We have a motion and a second. We'll vote now.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right. And then the other one will be handled in Senator Hanger's report from his subcommittee, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, are there no other non-members? Okay, Senator Lucas. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring to you this morning Senate Bill 517, which is related to a sales and use tax for prescription administered and dispensed by veterinarians. First, I believe staff has a line amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chair and Senator Lucas. The line amendment would be on line 132, after the word administered, to add or dispensed.
I move that line amendment, Mr. Chairman.
All right, there's a motion and a second to do the line amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. All right, that line amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Senate Bill 517 seeks to close a gap that currently exists with respect to pharmaceutical products administered and dispensed by veterinarians. Under existing law, only prescription drugs sold for an agricultural product or production animals are exempt. This legislation is straightforward. This bill simply seeks to include all pharmaceuticals administered and dispensed by a veterinarian as being exempt from the sales and use tax. This would include both agricultural products, production animals, and companion animals as defined in the Code of Virginia. Most companion animals are dogs and cats. This legislation is good not only for veterinarians, but also consumers. For veterinarians, it helps ensure that the revenue from prescription sales stay in the veterinarian's practice as opposed to being lost to big box retailers where pharmaceuticals are exempt from the sales and use tax. For consumers, this bill helps lower the cost of prescriptions for their companion animals. Since animal medications are not covered by insurance, consumers must pay 100% out of pocket for medications. This can cost a lot. This legislation would help reduce that cost. Some members of the committee will recall that the Senate Finance Committee saw this identical bill in 2018, and while there was a degree of support for the legislation, Chairman Hanger asked for the Department of Taxation to determine better fiscal estimates over the 2018 interim. Subsequent discussions with the Department of Taxation projected in November 2018 that the anticipated revenue loss would be roughly $7 million. This legislation has no known opposition. This legislation creates uniformity in how pharmaceutical products are treated. The Commonwealth does not require change in sales and use tax to any class of pharmaceutical products except for those used for companion animals. Passing this legislation would create uniformity and bring parity to how we treat companion animal drugs with other classes such as agricultural, livestock, and humans. I hope the committee will endorse this legislation and report it. Families of pets will receive financial relief with approval from this proposal, and this will also provide fairness to small business veterinarians. I appreciate the committee's time. Mr. Skiles will be presenting should you have any further information, or in need of any further information, Mr. Chairman.
All right, are there any questions of the patron? All right. Well,
I believe we wanted to check with public comment. If there's anybody in the Zoom room who would like to speak to this bill, please raise your hand electronically now.
all right.
Is there anybody in the Zoom room who has raised their hand electronically?
All right. You want to speak?
Mr. Chair, there's no one in the Zoom room.
Okay, no one in the Zoom room, okay.
I think we're in good shape.
I think so too. I won't get in the middle of a fine bill.
Okay, Mr.
All
Chair.
right, wait, before we do that, if we're going to report the bill, we have a basic policy that we put a sunset date of 2025 on that, so does anyone want to make a motion to put a sunset date of 2025?
I'll make that motion.
All right, yeah. Oh, we'll come back
Mr.
to
Chair,
that.
I also have a question.
Yes.
And I guess to raise the obvious, do doctors pay taxes on medicines that they purchase for human patients? In other words, are we extending a right to dogs and cats that we don't give to humans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman and Senator Peterson, it's my understanding that human pharmaceuticals are totally exempt from the sales and use tax.
Right.
And that issue has been looked at over the years, and it's been the General Assembly's
So this is a
position.
level playing field for dogs and cats?
Yes, it's a level playing field for veterinarians. We think it's a perfect bill.
Yeah. All right, we had a motion from Senator Peterson to put a sunset date of 2025. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. All right. Senator Norman, you have that? Okay. Okay. All right. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I
Senator
consider
Hager.
this broad-based tax relief for the taxpayers, so I move the report it.
All right. As amended.
As amended.
Yes, so.
As amended.
All right, we have a motion to report as amended with the two amendments that are in there, I guess, and then is there a second to that motion? All right. We will vote now.
I know my former seatmate always votes for me. He always votes for me.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
All right, the motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Certainly. All right, is it Senator Hager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Senate Bill, whatever my number is here.
101.
101 applies, it would extend an existing tax credit for printing materials for in-state printers that send these materials out of state. This is an existing tax credit where the revenue impact was assumed in the budget. The only issue, I think, in front of us now, that we do have a couple people from the printing industry here that can speak to the bill this morning. But the issue for us to consider is making it uniform, as we just took up the amendment there, to have it expire in 2025. That would be extending it for 3 years rather than 5 years as they requested. But I would offer that amendment, Mr. Chairman, to be consistent.
All right. All right, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no? All right, that amendment's adopted.
Okay,
Proceed.
Mr. Chairman, this is an exemption that we routinely extended to create parity for in-state printers who market their materials out of state. If you require additional information, I do have a couple individuals, if they could raise their hand here from the printing industry, that support this.
All right. Are there any questions from the committee? All right, this is an extension. Any public testimony? Anyone wish to speak in favor?
If you are on Zoom and would like to speak in favor, please raise your hand electronically. Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
All right, anyone in opposition?
If you are on the Zoom and would like to speak in opposition, please raise your hand electronically. Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
All right, if there are no speakers, does anyone want to make a motion?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to report as amended. We'll vote now.
Thank you. Louise, can you get me?
Yes, I got you.
Thank you.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right, Senator Mason has arrived, so we will take up his bill now. So, huh? Oh. Yes. Senator Hanger, could you do this subcommittee report first, and then we'll go to Senator Mason?
Yes,
Yeah.
please do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We call your attention, since Senator Mason is in front of us now, I'll do his first. We do have a report from the HHR subcommittee, and we have two fairly simple bills that were reported out unanimously. And it was the will of the chair, Senator Howe, this year, that we handle these, particularly ones that are with low fiscal impact, early on rather than saving them all to the end. And it was also her desire that we, since we're make the decisions, even though we haven't advanced the budget as far as we normally would when we're taking them up, if they're small amounts, go ahead and adopt them without contingency clauses. And so both of these have some small fiscal impact I would call your attention to, but we are reporting them without contingency clause. Senate Bill 307 deals with kinship foster care, and it requires a local board of social services to provide an application quickly within 15 days to a relative requesting to be a child's kinship foster parent, and directs the State Board of Social Services to issue regulations regarding requests for appeals. It sets up a process for appealing when these are denied. We unanimously recommend it be reported, and it does have a fiscal impact, $96,000 the first year and $86,000 the second year in fiscal year 23 and 24. I move that it be reported.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to report and a second, and it's been heard in the subcommittee, so we will vote now.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Okay. And
All right.
And Mr. Chairman.
You did a wonderful job, Senator Mason. So.
He was particularly eloquent this morning.
That's right.
Yeah. And Mr. Chairman, we have Senate Bill 241. Senator Hashmi was dealing with Renal Disease Council and Renal Disease Council Fund. It creates the council, and it does require funding for part-time staff support. Everything else would be covered without per diem for the members of this and through other monies that they would raise. And it was a unanimous recommendation of the committee to report this with a fiscal impact of roughly $40,000 per year for part-time staff. So I so move.
All right, we got a motion and a second on Senate Bill 241. We will vote now on that.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right, that motion passes. All right, other members of the committee?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have Senate Bill 9, which is a bill that was heard in courts, and it has no fiscal impact. It's a follow-on to a bill I had in 2018, which basically said that when you have a settlement in an eminent domain case, that the money has to be paid within 30 days because it is the landowner's property at that point. I don't think there's any opposition anyways. It got referred to finance. I don't believe there's a fiscal impact. We had one state agency that was not believing they needed to comply with the law, so this will just give them an incentive.
All right.
Oh, and there's one technical amendment.
All right, second. All right, what's the technical amendment do?
What is the technical amendment?
Mr. Chair, Senator Peterson, the amendment would be on line 20 to correct the phrase "due and owning" to "due and owing."
Oh, you're right, okay. All right, sorry about that. My proofreading skill's not good. All right, I will move that amendment.
Either that or you're out of the spelling bee, so.
Yeah. Due and owning. I move
All
that
right,
amendment.
the technical amendment has been offered. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, all right, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right, that amendment's adopted.
And then if the bill's in front of us correctly, I'd then move that we report.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to report the bill. Let's vote now.
Ayes 15, no 0.
All right, that motion passes. So, Senator Edwards.
Mr. Chairman, my bill is Senate Bill 141. It has to do with removing the authorization that was passed in 2020 for the Department of Wildlife Resources to charge a fee for the use of boat ramps and other facilities. There was a delay in implementation to July of 2022, this year. So it's never been implemented. And this authorization to remove it would not cost the Commonwealth any money. So there's no fiscal impact, except the fact that if it was going to charge a fee, it might be some additional funds to the Commonwealth. But since the bill is to remove it, and it was passed by Ag and sent to the Finance Committee for the fiscal impact, it really is certainly would not cost the Commonwealth any money. And so I move that the
Mr. Chair,
bill
can
be
I ask-
reported.
Yes. Senator Deeds.
Where'd this bill come from?
Somebody asked me to put it in.
So this isn't an agency bill, though?
Actually, I don't think so.
Was it just one of your constituents, you think?
Yeah, that's right. Bill Tanger, I remember, in particular, several other people asked for it as well. Because in the study, they were looking at it, and they decided that it would actually help people accessing the rivers and streams of Virginia. So it'd be a positive impact on people using the wildlife and the rivers and streams of Virginia. And so the impact is a positive impact to the Commonwealth and to the citizens of the Commonwealth.
Mr. Chair, if this bill came through Agriculture Committee, I wonder if Ryan Brown had the opportunity to speak to this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Senator Hanger.
I can address that. Yes, he did, and it was an awkward moment when you're having an outgoing administration, incoming administration. He couldn't take an official position, but it had been something they had worked on, so that I know they support it, but he couldn't say that.
Excuse me.
All right.
So I move that the bill be reported.
There's what?
Yes. It does have a fiscal impact.
Yeah, so it does have a fiscal impact. What's the size because there is money in the budget to replace this fee. What's the size of that money that was put in the budget?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was a question I was going to raise, is that there is an appropriation within the budget, so it does have a fiscal impact.
Right.
So it saves the Commonwealth money.
Huh? Do we have the?
But Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, getting rid of the fee.
Do we have a figure for what's in the budget?
Yes.
Okay.
While the DWR never imposed a fee, Senator Edwards is accurate in stating that they will not lose fee revenue as a result. Senate Bill 29, as proposed, includes an additional general fund transfer for game protection fees, $3.9 million in the current fiscal year and $2.3 million in each of the next fiscal years of the value. That was a recommendation of the workers that was put together that opposes the
All right, thank you. That's helpful there. So,
Mr.
all
Chair.
right, Senator Hanger, do you have?
No, I was just going to say that the fee never was put in place, so I move that we report the bill.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion and a second to report the bill.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
All right, that motion passes. So
Mr. Chairman.
the bill will be reported, yes. Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 26, this deals with the sales tax exemption that has existed since 2017 that is scheduled to expire in 2022 on gold, silver, platinum bullion, and tender coin sales over $1,000. Since it has passed, there are now 26 businesses that have come to Virginia or have expanded. I would move that the bill be reported.
All right. Yeah.
Just deep ones.
Right, yeah. All right, if we go forward with this, the sunset date, we need to put a sunset date in there based upon our policy, and that sunset date would be 2025. Does anyone want to make a motion to put a sunset in as 2025? All right, second? All right, we have a motion and a second to put a sunset date of 2025. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. All right, that is added to the bill.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can someone explain to me why we have a sales tax exemption for gold coins over $1,000? What's the background on this?
Mr. Abrams is coming up now.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
members of the committee, Phil Abraham representing David Lawrence Rare Coins. When you all passed this exemption back in 2015, you first added the gold coins. There were about, I think, 25 states who had this sales tax exemption. Since then, since 2017, another 7 states have done it, so there are 35 states who have sales taxes who exempt this, including Maryland, North Carolina, and West Virginia, as well as the U.S. Mint. So if these, if the sales tax were applied in Virginia, people would just go to these other states and purchase these items. The sales margins on these products are very small, 1 to 5%. You also pay a capital gains tax on these products, which is very unusual to impose a sales tax on a product that you pay a capital gain. As Senator Ruff mentioned, there have been a tremendous growth in these businesses in Virginia. Roughly 20 businesses have either opened or expanded in the state, so you have new jobs. People come in and purchase other products as the sales tax is applied. So that's the rationale for it. It was passed unanimously both in 2015, 2017 from this committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any further questions, Senator Peterson? All right, Senator Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You pay capital gains taxes on this, but this is a very volatile, metals are, I think, a very volatile commodity. So when there's a decline and you sell, is there a tax deduction that you take for selling bullion that you're selling for less than you paid for it?
I think I'd defer to tax, but I believe so. If there's a loss, you can deduct a loss just as any other capital gain you would.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think the speaker's treating bullion as a stock, like any other kind of stock. So you can't pay a capital gain or you have a capital loss when you sell it, just like stocks.
All right. Any further questions or comments? All right, is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the bill?
If you are on the Zoom and would like to speak in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
All right, anyone in opposition to this bill?
If you are on the Zoom and would like to speak in opposition, please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, we have no speakers.
All right, we have a motion to report. Is there a second? All right, a motion and a second to report. We will vote now.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
All right, that motion passes. The bill will be reported. All right. Senator Vogel.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I have Senate Bill 371, and this is a bill that was heard in P&E, and it's actually passed this body before. It was once Senator Edwards' bill. This bill expands the membership of the State Board of Elections from its current membership of 5 to now 7, and it essentially makes the board and the agency independent. So that's what the bill does, and has a fiscal impact of $3,000 for additional board members. This committee has heard this bill before.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Thank
Chair?
you. All right, is there any? Senator Evan.
Just one question for Senator Vogel. Is this the one that requires also a supermajority of the Board of Elections to hire or fire the commissioner or the executive director, whatever the title is?
Mr. Chair, yes, it does. It requires a supermajority to hire and to fire the head of the Department of Elections.
All right. Any further?
And it moves that responsibility to the board.
Right. All right, does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, is there a motion? All right, moved and seconded that the bill be reported. We will vote now.
Ayes 13, noes 2.
All right, the motion is adopted. All right, that completes the docket. Is there any other business? All right, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. All right, and we will pick up, that motion passes, and we'll pick up the bills coming over, as well as deal with the tax issues next week. So see you then.